fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la skincare la 2020 lañ wax de waaw fii nag mooy Kerr fan Kerr zero tache perfect skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek loo lañ soxlaati rek maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin ngeen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba la ka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi defee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw fii ngeen di ñëw skincare plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du
CK's Restaurant, known for best quality food and customer satisfaction.
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
All right.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows.
Welcome back from the lunch break, everyone. Council, if you're ready to continue, please proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Welcome back, Mr. Witness.
Thank you, Council.
Before the break, we were talking about the 1994 coup d'etat. And you have explained how Jammeh and Edward and Jammeh and their crew came to have access to State House.
Ya sata jang ya Jammeh aning Edward na ni la donyol ini modu ya katanya di la fay dundanang State House.
Now we have to move to an entirely different topic.
Silambida kaja fanna dolla.
It would have been interesting to hear your views as to how positions were given out at State House during that supposed chaotic moment.
But in
the interest of gaining time, we'll just move on some other topics, and the Commission will rely on the evidence that it has already received on that. So I want to now move to the Ndur Cham coup d'etat. Don't take it from the angle of your arrest. I want you to tell us what happened that time in 2006. You being Deputy CDS. So tell us all those things that were happening leading up to the arrest of people implicated in that coup.
Abe fonye me alonko wala sujita ni konyi na me alonko kudeta nyin tamandir bulu aketa nyame ani menna na sababu ina na mol me muta ko yetu mi ko be dawe kudeta nyin konole.
Okay, good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon to everyone. Council, audience.
Al-Nimbara Chairman, Al-Nimbara Council, Lamur Lanfanang, Al-Nimbara, Altinyang.
I am now coming to give my evidence, my testimony on the 2006 attempted coup,
2006
which was led by Nur Cham, who was at the time the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambian Armed Forces. It happened in early 2006 that the head of the military intelligence who happened to be Lieutenant Bo Baji at this time, who gave me an intelligence report that he has gathered information that Ndur Cham had planned a coup against President Yahya Jammeh. After when I got this information from him, I made my own assessment, and this kind of sensitive information cannot be handled or kept at my level. Simply because if I fail to notify the authorities, whenever it happens, I will be held responsible. Because the Constitution defines that once you get information about a planned coup, you must inform a police officer or a magistrate or even the president himself.
How about the Gaffer?
Gaffer? The same thing applies to Gaffer. That when you know about an intended or planned coup, you have to inform your commanders, and of course that includes the commander-in-chief. So when I picked this information, I made efforts to meet the president as the commander-in-chief, to give him this information. But at the time, I had a little issue with the president that was following our return from the Under-17 World Cup in Peru.
When we did
not reach the finals, The president was misinformed that I had failed to apply some of the things he gave me.
What things?
How they call it?
Just call it by what it is, even in the local language.
Okay, some of the jujus that I was given, I failed to apply. That was the interpretation he was given.
By the way, did he personally prepare those jujus?
No, he didn't hand them over to me. It was through somebody else.
The question was, did he personally prepare them?
Also, that is what I mean. It was prepared by a brother of mine who was close to him. By the name Assis Tamba. Assis prepared these jujus and handed them over to me. So eventually, when we are in Peru, those jujus were handed over to the president of the federation at the time, or the vice president, Sidi Kinte. Because Sidi Kinte was with the football team. I was together with the supporters. And Sidi applied as instructed. But because he was misinformed, this anger was demonstrated to me, was geared towards me. In fact, when the under-17 paid him a courtesy call at the State House, all that time he could not hide his anger. He said that it is not the players that failed to bring the cup. But he said he blamed the officials for failing to apply what he gave.
Okay.
So when I could not see him, I called one of his trusted aides, by the name Matar Jajo. When I met Matar, I briefed him about the intelligence that we gathered in respect of Ndur Cham's planned coup. I also advised Matar that before he goes to the president to inform him about this intelligence, let him meet the head of the Armed Forces Intelligence, Bobaji, so that he could get the same briefings from Bobaji.
Mr. Tamba,
yes,
General Tamba,
Council.
Was this was this intelligence in the classic term of it, or was it just rumor?
Because
I asked this question because the information we received in this commission is that, well, it was talked about by almost everybody and the top echelons of the army that Ndur Cham was going to stage a coup.
And so the 1994 was rumored, but the 2006 Ndur Cham school wasn't rumored.
1994 council wakuma comfortable, but the 2006 star the
information was an information, it wasn't an intelligence. It becomes an intelligence once it is processed and interpreted, then it becomes intelligence.
Kanake kullo kibaro ti watu meninga noma sata nga kobu nyoto ntatata kobe lari nyame utumolen akanake kullo kibaro ti kabame intelligence.
That was why when the head of the intelligence got the information, he processed it and interpreted it to become intelligence.
Wala na bring kullo kibar bunda la nyaton ko ya moy abulata kulu noma aye kesemeti atata kafu nyoma na atake kullo kibaroti.
So when they said Matar Jaju met Bobaji,
Birim Matar Baji ni Bobaji nata nyoje.
Bobaji also interpreted this intelligence to him.
Bobaji nata nyin kullo fanan Kenya be bay nyoto.
He went and met the president, Matar Jaju, I mean.
Matar Jaju tata anim president wa nyoje.
And he interpreted this intelligence to him.
But
later Matar called me and he came and met me. He said to me, the president said, this is not true, you are interested in Durcham's position. So when he told me this, I said to him, go and approach Bobaji, the head of the intelligence, and give him this same response you got from the president. Eventually he did that. So as the date drew nearer, for the planned date for the coup,
have you had any discussions with anybody else about this planned coup?
I called back Bobaji and told him that this is the response that the president gave. And that if Matar met him and gave him the same briefings. And he confirmed that he met Matar and Matar gave him the same response he gave me.
Andu akotso nyala ni matar futata male andu jabiro mem faye o kuma kan kilima mem fonte matar fana yole faye.
Then Bobaji said to me, sir,
Bobaji konte wotumole sa,
now that I have gathered all this intelligence
and
the president did not have trust in us, for me what I have in mind was that whenever the president travels out of the country, you as the deputy CDS, you should not also leave the country, you should not travel.
My question was, did you have any discussions about this matter, this planned coup, with anybody else apart from Jaju and Baji?
Kon ngame nyinga wala nyindiko nyinkure ta bayri mum fo ninga bota jajula aning baji fo mo sorondala bay ningi me nyinku kachaba.
No, those were the only two people I discussed with because it was an intelligence and I cannot share it with everyone.
Up
until that day when the coup was being foiled, have you discussed with anybody
that
a coup was planned?
Council, I didn't discuss with anybody because it was very sensitive information and you don't know whom you are talking to, whether the person is part of it. So I did not discuss with anybody.
Council, ni ñong kuma fasongolo ini membe diamula imalom fango fo mari fango dabi jele o dalilo le ya sabu ni momo ndim mafo.
Has anybody, any soldier or civilian, come to your office to inform you or to tell you that there was this planned coup d'etat?
Fabe kala soldier rol tibang, fabe kala civilian rol tibang. Fo mo na soton dalaba men kan e fango office o kono ka fo e ko nyinem feroti ka coup d'etat ke.
Until somebody told me, but before that, I was trying to explain, Bo advised that whenever the president leaves the country, I should also not travel out of the country. Because he said to me, if the president travel and you travel, he did not see anybody who can lead the troops to foil the coup. As the head of intelligence, that was the advice he gave me. So I also heeded to that advice. So it happened that the CDS at the time, Colonel Nurcham, planned me a visit to travel to Darfur to visit our troops. Within that time, Bobaji came back to me and said to me, sir, I heard that the president will be traveling to Mauritania. Are you aware? I said to him, no, but he said to me, I should confirm. Then I confirmed it, and it was true that the president should be traveling to Mauritania on a Thursday or a Friday. When I confirmed the president's travel, I relayed that same information to Bobaji. Bobaji came and said, sir, I advise that you should cancel your trip to Darfur. I then approached the CDS Ndurcham. I said to him, sir, my planned trip to Darfur, I cannot make it because I'm not feeling well. Because already I knew that the president was to travel to Mauritania. And wanting to heed to the advice of the head of the intelligence, so I said to the CDS, we can postpone this till another time. So the president traveled to Mauritania.
Still back to my question. Did you discuss with any person, civilian or military, that Ndurcham was planning to carry out a coup d'etat?
Council, yes, I did that. But I am coming to that. Yes, I'll give an explanation of the sequence of events. Then you will see, at what level I told the person.
Could you answer my question and then we move on?
Yes, Council.
Who was that person?
When the information was confirmed, I called the Inspector General of Police at the time, Usman Sonko. I called Bobaji himself. I called the commandant at the Armed Forces Training School. At the time, it was the former CDS Usman Baji. I called the commander of the state guards, who was then Colonel Sering Modunjai. I called them to my house. And by the time I called them, I had a recorded tape. This tape was recorded by a soldier called Mbaige. Mbaige was called to the defense headquarters by Bunya Dabo. Bunya was the military assistant, we call him MA, military assistant to Ndurcham. Bunjale mu sojaro la karoti nolan koti membe Ndurcham bala ikafa military assistant. And on that Tuesday that he called Mbaige to his office at the defense headquarters. And on talata lumu men ay Mbaige kili ala office to defense headquarters. That Tuesday we had National Security Council at the office of the Vice President, Dr. Isatunjai Sedi. Ulunne fana mu banko la kanto ni tanka council ba benke Isatunjai Sedi la office to utumo ule Vice President. After we closed from the meeting, At the time, I was the first vice president of the Gambia Football Association at the time.
Vice President
I took permission from my boss, Colonel Durcham, to go to Ministry of Works, where I had a meeting to award contract for the construction of the present Gambia Football Federation office.
Pura silo dinna purun sita nga ferot tamandi me yalonko wolem Gambia Football Federation la nyin korda bu nyin membije abu contrat ko purun sita wo contrat ko di do kula nyina.
So from the meeting I went straight to Ministry of Works to attend a meeting to one Mr. Jaite, who was the Director of Technical Services.
Utumo lembrimbota nyimbendo to ntata Ministry of Works Mr. Jaitela office me yalonko utumo atelebe mario kola ntata wala office pruna nyoje.
Thereafter I drove home to my house in Kololi.
But apart from these people you have mentioned, did you discuss this matter with any other person, soldiers or any other civilians?
Council, I am coming to that. So whilst at home, about to have my lunch, I got a phone call from the head of our transport unit in Yundum, Jangasane. And what he said to me was this. So I heard that you are supposed to travel to Darfur, but I advised that you should cancel your trip. I told him that, look, I have already cancelled my trip knowing that the president was going to travel out of the country. That's how he started to narrate to me that Mbaige was called to the defense headquarters by Bunja Dabo. The defense headquarters and trying to brief him about a coup that was planned for that day. And they wanted that Lance Corporal at the time by Gay to facilitate the transportation, because he was at the transport unit in Yundum, for him to facilitate the transportation for the movement of troops. And so I instructed that he must give my Gay a vehicle to bring him to my house at mile 7. I left my Kololi residence, went to Westfield, and bought a small recorder. And that time I called Bobaji and requested that he joins me in my house in mile 7. On my arrival, then Baige also arrived. I ushered him to my bedroom in the presence of Bobaji and asked him to explain what he was telling me about on the phone. With regards the planned coup by Ndurcham. He gave me the discussions he had with Bunja Dabo at the defense headquarters earlier on. But according to him, he declined to be part of the coup. Bunja then requested him to meet Ndurcham at 5 p.m. in his residence in Bakau. So Maige told me that he was heading to Ndurcham's house in Bakau by the Daily Observer. And thereafter I handed over to Maige the small tape recorder I bought. I gave it to him so that he can record all his conversation with Ndurcham. I did that so that I can have evidence to believe that yes, Ndurcham was planning a coup. When I returned back, He arrived
Futata
with the tape recorder.
And tape recorder
already,
but
I had called the Inspector General of Police, Usman Sonko.
Usman Sonko commanded the Inspector General of Police.
I called the Commandant Armed Forces Training School, former CDS Captain General Usman Baji.
General Usman Baji, Otembo, Atelum Commandanti, Campo,
I called the State Guards Commander, Colonel Serin Mudunjai.
Colonel Serin Mudunjai, State Guards la Commander Utumo Fanankili.
And requested that they join me in my house in mile 7.
Mile 7.
When they all converged at my house, I led them into my bedroom. Even my wife, my family, they didn't know why I called those people. There I played the tape recorder that was brought by Mbaige following his meeting with Ndurcham.
Utumola nga tape recorder nyumbondi nga kumandi kumakamu membe bije Mbaige Ndurcham membe kacha abebe tape menkono nga play.
And when we all listened to the tape, that was how we came to know of the planned coup for that day.
Have you spoken to Ndur Cham about this planned coup?
I have never spoken to Ndur Cham about any planned coup. Otherwise, I would not have brought a tape and give it to Mbaige to go and record his conversation with Ndur Cham. Because I would have been in the picture already.
But you are already in the picture because you have received intelligence that the coup was going to go on. You asked that the conversation be recorded clandestinely because you wanted to keep evidence.
Counsel, you are right, because I did that simply because I mentioned in the initial stage that the president didn't trust me, thinking that I wanted Ndur Cham's position.
Let's just get it straight. You may have recorded the evidence for more than one objective. Of course, one objective could also be wanting Ndur Cham's position, because evidence of him planning a coup d'etat would mean that he would be removed from that position, and the likelihood is that you would take that position. I'm not saying that that is what you wanted. I'm just saying that it is capable of being interpreted also in that way. Would you agree?
Amanke ku dalila kilinda mamupuru mosafo no wala ya kende yala kumakamo tape. Bari do fanansi ni mutano ko ni aje yala kumakamo tape ko president wa memfoko etebe lafirin Ndur Cham la palasola. Kadu otembo wairi itese simbe Ndur Cham noma. Misali kama ni atara ke kuti hani fo ina tan Ndur Cham bondi o palasoto. Bidu wala bunyinte ko asekene yete tentendi yeke o palasoto. Mosafo no wo fanan mudalila doleti me yalon ko mosi kumakamo jin tape no dolu ba jala wala nyama.
Would you agree that it is also capable of being interpreted in that way?
So if we son na nyina ko mose akonyi mfanan satan ole ko wo aketa wala nyama.
Counsel, fine, others can interpret it that way.
Okay, let me just ask my next question. I understand what you said. It is capable of being interpreted in that way. But your objective, according to you, was what?
My objective was purely to have evidence to prove that a coup was in the making. Coup d'etat be few jakang.
I did mention to you that the initial stage I sent the information to the president. His response was, I was interested in Durcham's position. But the law is not dormant in that. I knew fully that if the coup was executed, and me knowing about it, I've been reported without evidence, then if it fails, I may be accused of being part of it. Because they will say that I have not informed the authorities. Hence, that was what the law requires. So that was why I made a recording, so that it will be served as an evidence. In fact, that recording helped in the court martial. It helps the prosecution team.
In fact, in spite of that effort, the suggestion was there that you are in fact part of the coup, correct?
Counsel, I say no to that. Simply because.
Listen to my question before you answer.
Okay.
My question is, the suggestion was there that you are part of the coup, in spite of all this effort you have made to get a recording, and in spite of the efforts you have made to gather the relevant officials to discuss the matter. What do you say to that?
Counsel, I say no to that. Simply because logically, if I were a part of a coup and fell out with Ndurcham, and at the time, all those who were part of the coup were arrested, and Ndurcham fled the country, and all that time the president was not in the country, he was in Mauritania. So if I had a difference with Ndurcham about the leaders or whatsoever, then it was on a silver platter cake. The president was not in the country. Ndurcham has fled the country. The other members of the coup were arrested by my team. It would have been as simple as I sit on the chair and declare myself president. But because I did not do that, that shows that I did not have any conflict with Ndurcham as to who was to be the head.
You are answering a question I did not ask. Perhaps you have listened to the TRRC hearings and you have heard some of the allegations that were made. And in your head, you have that allegation and you are responding to it. But I haven't quite asked that question. I haven't even gotten there. I will get there at some stage, but we are not yet there. Okay. It would have been helpful if you just answered my question. My question is that the suggestion was there. People said you were part of it. Is that true? Did they actually say? Were there any people who said that you were part of it?
Thank you.
Tonya ite hani ile ite ko senende ko idati je nyonyande mbari
asekeno kuma tile molu semen molu sinyim fono le ko tonya fo ndur cham da bijele fo te fono la o mansoto nun fo molu mansoto men ye fo nun ko ite da bijele.
Okay, let me do it again. The question I asked, okay, people have come here and suggested that you are part of the coup d'etat. Are you aware of that? Are you aware of the suggestion by some people that you are part of the coup d'etat?
And so I was not aware of that. What I was aware of was one of the witnesses said that Nurcham told him that myself and Peter Singate, we were part of the coup.
This is precisely what I am referring to.
Yes. I want to tell this commission that that is not true. Because logically, how could Peter be part of a coup that will be against his own brother who was in the government? Secondly, if I were part of the coup, after having arrested them and Nurcham fled the country, it was going to be like on a silver platter for me. Who would have stopped me from being the president that day if that was my intention?
But Mr. Tamba, we should all also look at things dispassionately and honestly.
Okay.
Neither of these 2 points you raise could conclusively suggest that you are not part of it. No, cannot conclusively say that you are not part of it. They are not dispositive of the issue. Completely. Because Peter Singate can participate in a coup against a government in which his brother is a part of, and as part of his agreement, ensure that his brother still remains in that government. Is that not possible?
Yes, that is possible.
Exactly.
But counsel, on my own case.
Let me continue.
Okay.
Yes. The second one is, while you have done everything possible to prevent this coup from taking place, that does not mean that you had the power to take over the government at that time, because other defenses could have been made to ensure that there is nobody who would be able to take over. That is also possible, isn't it?
Woto itesi mansakunda ta nole nunu wotumo katu asekeno fere dolu fanolu sotontale minu be kering menu sike tanka daluti puro kufaso wakana ke kafo itesi sino ye mansakunda ta wokulu bayri ngo wonya fo wotekeno la wotumo.
And so here let us not talk about the possibilities.
Let us
talk about the realities.
I raised this, Mr. Tamba, because what you have just said, you have just taken a reality, all right, but you used it only to show a possibility. And that is exactly what I have done. It is speculative to suggest that because you have gathered these people and told them what was going to happen, does not by itself suggest that you could have taken over the government and remain in power if you had wanted to. I just want to show that whereas your objective was demonstrated in the actions that you have taken, that action does not necessarily negate the other. It is still possible that there may have been other reasons that could have prevented you or anybody else from taking over the government. Once we agree on that fact, we can move on and talk about the actual things you have done.
Amunta kansule menfote ngolem ka foko ite nyin katakulu menu beketen puruka kudeta nyin ka kuwa bay ani nyin menu be bendi ni diamuta tonya bari hanim bi kudo fanan sitara kerin ne me yalon ko wosi nyim bayno le pour ka foko ite si banko tano le yetuje satara kuta kala yesi sila je bari o satara le kudo le fanan be kerin men be lari men site bali no wala.
And so possibilities, realities supersede possibilities.
Ako kolu men sikeno wolle lata kolu kan men yalon ko mu fula kol.
And the realities are this.
If
I have a problem with my boss,
the
issue of leadership, who was to take the leadership position, and now that the leadership position is available for me, I will not argue or push and pull with anybody.
In as simple
as me sitting on the chair, then what could have stopped me from doing that?
Mr. Tamba, before Yaya Jammeh left, he knew that a coup was planned against him, didn't he?
He didn't, because he denied that there was a coup being planned. So he did not know until when the realities came to show.
The theory is out there that Yaya Jammeh left having put in place sufficient defenses to make sure that this coup was going to fail and those who were in it apprehended, and that is why he left. What do you say to that?
I disagree. Those were not the realities, because the person who could have implemented those realities could have been me or his own state guard commander. But like I said, his own state guard commander, I called him to give him about the information. So those are not the realities that were on the ground.
So in effect, you denying that you did not have a falling out with Nur Cham, correct?
I did not have a falling out with Nur Cham because me and Nur Cham were not engaged in anything.
Okay. You are saying that apart from the people you have mentioned, you have never discussed the coup with anybody?
Correct.
You are saying that, okay, let me rephrase. Do you know a person called Emeba?
Yes, Council, I know Emeba.
He also became a general subsequently.
Yes, I know that he later became a general and he testified before this commission. No, he did not testify before this commission, but he testified in a court proceedings.
That's right. He has alleged that he informed you about the coup. You guys talked about it.
Council, if Emeba is a trusted witness, then there is not much I can say. But all I can tell you, Emeba wasn't a trusted witness, simply because Emeba decided to lie and implicate me because he wanted a pardon, and which was eventually done. He succeeded after he implicated that I was part of it. But how could it happen that it was Emeba alone that will say I knew about the coup? But I can still refer you to my former orderly. I will refer you to my former orderly, who later confirmed that Emeba said he told me about the coup through him giving him appointment to come and see me to tell me about the coup. My former orderly could testify whether that was true. Emeba had an appointment to come and brief me about the alleged coup.
So you're therefore suggesting that Emeba lied because he wanted a pardon?
Council, that is correct. Emeba wanted a pardon. That was why he fabricated lies against me, and eventually he succeeded in getting the pardon. And eventually he was reinstated back into the army, and also he was paid salaries the number of years he spent in jail. That is a story I can explain. In fact, out of that, it was a set-up plan in the prison, Emeba and all his team. That was what landed the president of the court-martial, Sergio Fofana, in detention. All those that participated in the court-martial of Emeba and his group were all implicated dismissed or even arrested and detained in Mile 2. The likes of Wali Nyang. He was detained there because he was part of the court martial, and they alleged all the court martial team. One of the witnesses here, Yaya Dabo, have said it all here before this commission.
What did he say?
Yaya Dabo said that they made that plan because they were induced by Numok Jabi, the justice minister at the time, and the head of the NIA, that was Numok Jabi, to say that we were part of the coup, myself and the panel. Once they do that, they will all be pardoned and they will go home. That was said before this panel here by Yaya Dabo.
The commission would have the opportunity to examine all these things and determine what is the truth.
Yes.
But what emerges out of this is in the military, the soldiers were busy implicating one another and terminating each other's careers and sending each other to life imprisonment pretty much.
Council, can you give me examples of those who were implicated without being part of the coup?
Your case?
My case was not the soldiers. Those who were convicted of coup plotting.
Yes, but
those were the ones.
What I mean by the soldiers is it's all people who had served in the army.
Yeah,
it
but
does not matter whether they were serving at the time or
those people wanted a revenge. They were not happy because I led the team that foiled the coup and eventually led to their arrest. So certainly, they were not happy with me.
But this is the point that I'm making. I am suggesting that in the army, or those who served, present or former, many of them participated in schemes aimed at putting one another in trouble.
Such as these particular people of 2006.
So you are agreeing with me?
Yeah, the 2006, they lied. They lied against me. Because they have grievances, so they decide to implicate me.
And fabrication of evidence against one another also took place.
Such as?
The decision to collude and implicate you.
By the same team, this is what I'm telling you. I agree, by the same 2006 coup. Because they were aggrieved already. So for them, I was the one who foiled the coup. For them, I was the one who sent them to prison. So they have to collude to fabricate lies that I was part of it. Like I gave you an example, if I were a part of it, I would have been president that day. I would have been president.
Perhaps not so easily, but,
of course.
But if you say
who was going to stop me?
If you say so, I wouldn't know. I'm not in the security.
That is it. There was nobody. Yeah. I was the one who spoke to the president and gave him assurance that he could return that night back to Banjul.
So you foiled the coup essentially?
Yes, I led the coup. I led the team that foiled the coup.
Okay, fine, good.
Yeah.
So, Daba Marena, was he part of the coup or was he not part of the coup?
Daba Marena, to my knowledge, Daba Marena was not in the country.
We all know that. The question is, was he part of the coup or was he not?
I am coming. Daba Marena traveled along with the president. From the evidence that was put before us, there was no implication made of Daba Marena's involvement. In our panel, nobody mentioned about Daba Marena's involvement. Malafikor was mentioned by one of the witnesses.
Would you recall who?
I cannot recall.
In what context can you recall?
Being aware that he was informed. One of the witnesses certified that he was informed.
Aliulo?
Aliulo, no? Which Aliulo?
Aliulo Juma. Was it not Aliulo? I think it was Aliulo. What is? Did I get it wrong? He was one of those who was executed with Mandafikor.
Okay, Ibulo.
Ibulo, I meant to say. Sorry, excuse me. That's a slip. Ibulo.
Council Ibulo, at the time of the coup, was posted in Kanilai. Like I said, it was the same team that started mentioning one another. I've said it here that initially it was Nurcham and Bunja Dabo, who was his military assistant. That was the first-hand information we got. But when they all appeared, it was Bunja Dabo who started mentioning the other members. And then when they also came, Wasa and the others, they started mentioning one another. And this was what happened. They started mentioning one another. Ibulo was in Kanila. I was not aware of his involvement, but he was mentioned by the other members. Ibulo was one of the closest lieutenants to me. From the time we were in Liberia, Sierra Leone, in the UN, he was like a younger brother or a son to me. Everybody knows that in the mission area. So if I had got the opportunity to know of his involvement, I would have been the first person to advise him. This same team that I talked about, they were the ones who started mentioning, each of them.
Since you have accepted that there was no evidence implicating Daba Marena,
correct.
Why was Daba arrested?
And so probably the person who arrested Daba could have answered that, not me. I'm not aware of his arrest, and I was not part of those that arrested him. He was not in the country.
Yes, but you participated in the investigation.
Yes, I did.
He was arrested in the context of the 2006 coup d'etat, Nurcham coup d'etat.
But in what context? Who arrested him? It was not the panel.
I'm just asking questions.
Yes.
As to why was he arrested? Does the panel know why he was arrested?
They are
investigating human rights.
There was no member of the panel who will tell you that he knows about the involvement of Daba Marena. What
would you therefore say that if Daba was arrested in the context of the 2006 alleged Nurcham coup d'etat, that arrest would have been unlawful?
And so I wouldn't say that was unlawful. Simply because Daba was not in the country. At the time of this foil coup, he was in Mauritania with the president. And what transpired between them, I was not there. All what I heard was the NIA, they were informed, they knew about the coup. And they were working on arresting those responsible. That was what I got here.
We received information that he was actually fingered by the NIA because of the infighting at the top level of the NIA. They implicated Daba.
Well, I was not aware of that infighting, Council. Because I was not a staff of the NIA.
So you don't know how Daba Marena came to be arrested in 2006 in connection with this Nurcham case or in connection with any other case for that matter?
Me and Daba, we never saw from the time he returned from the trip. We never saw, and we never spoke, so I wouldn't know
Ntenin daba manyoje fereng mandiamu manyoje kabowato mabutanan tamadula.
The panel in which you worked never recommended Dabamarena's arrest.
Not at all, not at all. And none of the members will even say that.
Let us proceed. Can you tell us how this panel worked?
When this intelligence was brokered to us, like I said, the first person we knew about the involvement was Nurcham and Bunjadabo. Following my meeting with those people I mentioned, and at the time I didn't know the involvement of 1 infantry battalion in Yundum.
And one infantry battalion la tarawkano kulu kono membe Yundum.
Equally, I didn't know the involvement of Guards battalion in Bakau.
Adum mambo Guards battalion fanana ko kalama utumu membe Bakau.
When I had the briefing with the State Guards Commander,
bringing State Guards Commander la kachake tafuka pare,
with former CDS, then he was the commandant of the trading school, Usman Baji.
And then we do Usman Baji sita watu matelo mkunyato koti police la soldier la karambumbanyi ndo. Bo Baji.
And the IG at the time, Usman Sonko.
And then Usman Sonko memu IG tunu
as the most senior.
And
the person handling operations,
I
assigned roles to each of them. For Bobaji, I assigned him to pick Babukar Sajang, who was at one battalion in Yundum, living in Lamen. Then they will move close to Yundum barracks.
Mr. Tamba, perhaps we can avoid the detail, the operational details of what you did to arrest everybody else. We can just be content with the fact that X, Y, Z and were arrested. Give us the names and then we move on.
So, Council, you are not interested in the way the operation was carried out?
No, we would not be interested. I mean, some of these things are also confidential operational matters. We should not be interested. It would be sufficient for us to know that you made arrangements and A, B, C, D were arrested, and then we move on.
I don't think that will suffice it.
Well,
if I have to explain, I have to give a detailed explanation to this commission so that they will know the facts and the probabilities. But if you don't want me to mention the operational aspect of it, then something is lacking.
Mr. Tamba, we are not questioning how the military operates. We are investigating human rights violations. You understand? All these things you are talking about is just context. The important thing is what happened at the NIA and how these confessions were obtained. So I'm allowing you to discuss all this because we just want to set context. But it's absolutely not significant in our inquiry. And please do understand that and answer my questions, and then we move on. You made arrangements, you gave people roles, and tell us who were arrested pursuant to that.
Council, hence you don't want me to talk about that. I will heed to your advice.
Thank you very much.
But it is against my own will. Because if it is a commission of inquiry wanting to know what happened from the beginning to the end, I think it is fair enough that I am given the opportunity to explain how the mission, how the foiling of the coup was executed, who was assigned what. But if that is not what you want, fine.
I don't want the operational details because our mandate is not to investigate what happened in the army. Our mandate is to investigate human rights violations. That's what we are tasked to do. This we are discussing now just gives us context to show who was arrested, when, by who, and what happened afterwards. What operational details you people had in place do not concern us. It's not important. And I would advise that you heed to my guidance, answer the questions, we know what we are looking for, and we head straight to those things.
I will heed to your guidance.
Thank you very much.
But it's important that the operational details, they determine who did what happened, the details. But if you are not interested in that part of it, yes, fine. I will know that it's something that the commission don't want to know. I can put that aside. Operational details, that's
if
fine.
If the commissioners are interested, they would ask those questions. And please...
I've noticed that the commissioners, they don't ask questions, they take notes. They listen to me and you.
But
hence that is your direction. I agree with you, that's fine. I'll be on records then.
That is not the case. The commissioners ask questions. And if they think that something is important that they wish to know, they would ask it. Proceed and tell us what happened after you assigned roles.
Council, just a minute. General, let me just clarify one point out here. When you say the commissioners are not asking questions, we are not sitting here doing that. If you have all 11 asking you question after question after question, we won't finish. That's why this kind of a commission gets a legal team. They prepare, and we give them the legal team the authority to ask questions on our behalf, and later on, when we finish that phase, we would then ask them some additional questions. So it's not that we are just sitting here taking notes and not going to ask any questions. That would come a bit later. Thank you. Council, continue.
Chairman, I'm not saying that you people are not asking questions. I never said that. I said that you people are taking notes. I know that you will ask questions later. I've been following the proceedings of the TRRC. Normally, you ask questions at the end of the intervention by the lead counsel. I've been following. I never said that you people are not asking questions.
Thank you very much. Said that. Council, please continue.
Okay, let me proceed. Thank you very much. So tell us what happened afterwards. You assigned responsibilities. And then who was arrested? Honestly, we don't want the details of how your plan was executed. That would be outside what we're interested in. So tell us who was arrested and then what happened as a result of that.
Like I said earlier on, Bunya was the first to be arrested. That night he appeared before the panel. What
time of the night was that?
Bunya was arrested earlier. Then the president landed. And already we set up the panel.
Under whose instructions?
On what?
To set up the panel.
Of course, under the commander-in-chief, the president.
Commander-in-chief, president,
who determined the members of the panel?
Like I said, the president set up the panel, so eventually he determines who sits in the panel.
The questions have to be asked, even whereas the answer may appear to be very obvious to you. We have to ask the question.
That's the answer I'm giving you now.
Yes.
That the president, obvious, is the president.
And thank you very much. And then what happened? You had an appearance by Bunja before the panel on that day. Tell us what happened.
Bunja was the one who mentioned the involvement of other members in the coup. In the likes of Wasa Kamara, he was, even in the barracks, busy, making certain arrangements. Because already he heard about the coup, that it has been foiled. But he pretended not knowing or being part of it. Until when Bunja appeared before the panel, it was Bunja who mentioned them.
So, what were the working methods of the panel?
In terms of what?
How was the panel doing its work?
It was a simple job for the panel. I just said here Bunja was the first person to be arrested. Yes, but and it was Bunja who started mentioning names.
Could you kindly go back to the question? How was the panel doing its work? What was the setup? Who were the members? What were the respective roles assigned to the members? Who was present? How was it organized?
The panel was set up under the leadership of the NIA. And Haidara was assigned as the lead investigator.
Haidara, what's his first name?
I just called him Haidara. I wouldn't remember his first name.
Proceed.
I was there. Usman Sonko was there. These are some of the people I can remember that first day. I could not remember the names of others.
How many people were there?
I wouldn't be able to remember how many, but it was a reasonable number.
And what is a reasonable number?
A reasonable number is a figure that I cannot give. So for me, that's a reasonable number in a panel. It could be for up to 10 or even more.
Bari wala nanko e buitale domanding bari mo sa yirka ka foko ni wala mo tang wala mensi sia mo tanti.
Could it be up to 20?
And so it could be up to 10. So the exact number I cannot tell. I don't want to exaggerate.
Sitano le fo mo tang bari bitum mallafi ka kibirinde wala ka kono fanundi.
And who else? You mentioned three people.
These are the ones I can remember because these are senior personnel of their various security setups. So the others I cannot remember.
We
received information that Fodebari was part of it.
And so in the first day or second day, Fodebari was not there.
How about subsequently?
I fully remember one day, the president probably he was not happy the way the panel was going on. So he instructed that we get for the Bari and Baba Saho because already they were not working for the NIA. I think they were sacked from the NIA.
Nga Fodebari ni Baba Sauta sekeno ko tembo mantara do ko la panelo nyim ko barbitu NIA barbitu anatanyim fuko ngawulu sabana ngi.
So they were brought into the panel through the instructions of the president.
Bitu president la kango kanno ngawulu nati ngi dundi panelo ko.
That was how we got them in.
Ngawulu soto tenne.
Okay, how about Alaji Martin?
Alaji Martin
Alaji Martin, I cannot remember sharing the panel with him.
Alaji Martin hakilo mamuta ka fonna denta panelo nyina.
Where I can fully remember
hakilo simemuta no
was when I sent for him to come and escort Faring Sergeant back to Mile 2.
Wala mbringa kila kia ko aena ay Faring Sergeant dandanka samba Mile 2.
That was when I came to the panel that day.
Wala mborina ta panelo to wulu.
So the condition in which Faring Sergeant was,
nata Faring Sergeant je abe nyame nyama utumo,
and I wasn't happy at all.
Adu mansewo akwala freng.
That was when I sent for Martin. some personnel, new personnel, so that they can escort Paring back to mile 2.
So Bipurin Kamala is Paring Samba ka Samba mile 2.
I think that statement was put before this this commission. Arin statement. Where he mentioned the actions I took when I saw him in that condition.
I meant for Nketa Nyame Ngakulu Menuke Bringaje Abe Alhalo Mento.
Which condition did you see him in?
I saw him with some wounds. And I confronted him what caused that in the presence of the panel when I stepped in. And he said he was beaten by the junglers. So because I was dismayed with that, so that was how I called Martin with some fresh personnel from the state guards to escort Parin back to mile 2.
Martin Kurandi presidential guards mile 2.
Were the junglers present there?
The junglers, yes, they were present.
Did you mount an investigation as to who in the junglers did that to him and why?
No, I did not.
And the junglers, which force did they belong to?
I've said that I did not investigate why the junglers did that, simply because the junglers weren't answerable to us.
Na foko malo jongla sujumanyo le yakala katu mune sabu nyi jongla solu mantarante la karola de mantaranto lu koto
they were answerable to the president.
Ke danko president drone la
there was no CDS
what CDSTJ
who will ever say that he gives instructions to the to the junglers.
CDSTJ menseno ka foko ataka ya maro wala kuma kamodi jongla solale.
And Mr. Tamba, that is why I asked you the question. To which force they belonged.
The
junglers belong to a special unit. And like I said, I've been following the proceedings of this TRRC. All of us heard them say they take directives from the president. So it is no secret as to where they get the instructions from.
Mr. Tamba, you are CDS.
Yes, I was.
You are working in an investigation.
Yes.
The junglers are part of the army.
Yes.
De jure, under the law, they should be under your command.
Certainly, they should.
They have violated the law, and you are aware of it.
I'm not aware of that. Me and the junglers, we were all under the command of the commander-in-chief. So somebody who is not under my directives...
Mr. Tamba, if you listen carefully to my questions, without any preconceived ideas, I think we can have a smooth testimony. Listen to my question. Right. We have just agreed that under the law, they should be under your command. We have agreed that, haven't we?
And so I have made one observation. I think the word preconceived mind is not appropriate for this kind of forum. If I had a preconceived mind, I would not be sitting here. So I don't think that is an appropriate word to say preconceived. That means whatever I will come to say here, you will not take it because you see it as a preconceived mind. That is the reality, Council.
That is why I say we should listen to one another.
I listen carefully. Okay. I wait until when you learn, I respond. But if you talk about preconceived mind, then there's no need for me to sit here and speak my mind.
That is not, you misunderstand me.
Counsel, I need to be guided then.
Okay, but you should allow me to guide you. If you insist on going your own way, then the guidance would be difficult.
Maybe the chairman can guide us, because if I say something I know and you interpret it as preconceived, then maybe you have a preconceived mind, not me. I am talking of something I know. Then you have the preconceived mind, Counsel.
Mr. Tamba, you've been answering questions that I have not even asked.
Certainly, because I'm trying to help the commission.
But then, why don't you just answer the questions that I ask?
Yeah, because I'm not comfortable with the word preconceived. That is what I'm not happy with. That is not an appropriate word for you to use that against me. If I have a preconceived mind, I would not be sitting here.
You misunderstand.
Let us call a spade, Counsel.
You misunderstand what I say.
No, I fully understood.
If it makes you comfortable, I withdraw the word.
I fully understood you.
What I am trying to say is, when I raise some questions, you already have an idea in your head where I am going to.
Because I'm trying to help you. I am trying to help you.
But that's why I say,
if I know where you're heading to and I help you, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Counsel. That makes your job easy.
Okay. You know what would make my job easy?
Yes.
Just answer the questions I have asked.
But this one is difficult for me to answer. When you talk about preconceived meaning that you know already, you know what you want to know. So me, I'm not telling you what I know. I'm not telling you the reality. That is what preconceived is all about. I stand to be guided.
I don't understand.
You have withdrawn that. Shall we continue with the questioning? You have withdrawn the preconceived thing that made him uncomfortable. Shall we continue?
It's just that what he thinks and what is happening are completely different. But what I
wouldn't say, don't put in what I think. That is the reality. Anybody sitting in this hall will know that that is not an appropriate word, preconceived. If I have a preconceived idea, then no need for me to come and sit here and explain to the commission. So for me, that is not an appropriate word.
I will just leave that and I will move on. I have said to you, if the word preconceived makes you feel uncomfortable, I withdraw that. But I certainly did not use it in the context in which you believe I used it. I was referring to something completely different from what you think I am saying.
This is English language. The meaning of preconceived is very clear. So you cannot say, whether I'm giving a different interpretation. Not at all, Counsel.
Okay, let me just move on, Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Tamba, tell us how the work of that panel was organized. You were telling us about firing. Okay, in fact, I should pursue that line. Faring complained that he was beaten by the junglers.
Counsel, I have said it here, that the junglers, they have a separate command.
But I am not asking about who commands the junglers.
And the beating
All
was...
I am saying, Mr. Chair, perhaps maybe you should intervene here.
When I say that, the beating was not done in our panel.
I am not saying that. I said Farin complained that he was beaten by the junglers. That is what you said earlier. So that is all I said. That is why I am saying, if you listen to the questions that I ask, there would be no problem. But if you don't listen to my questions...
I did. You asked about pairing. So I was responding to that. You mentioned about pairing, said this. So I was responding to that.
But it is only true that it is what I asked for. Is it true that that's what Faring said, or is it not true? Faring told you that he was beaten by the junglers.
Yes, when I arrived.
Exactly. You see?
And I took what? What action did I take?
But we're not even coming to that yet.
Yes.
That's why I said, if you just listen to the questions that I ask, I don't think there would be a problem. And my work would be a whole lot easier if you listen to the questions I ask and you answer directly to the questions I ask. Then there would be no such altercation.
That is my wish, Counsel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tamba. All right. And these junglers, they belong to the army, didn't they?
They belong to the armed forces, yes.
Exactly. You are saying that under the law, de jure, they should have been answerable to you.
Certainly.
We received evidence that they were answerable directly to the president.
Correct, Council.
At that stage, did you have control over the junglers?
Neither me nor the previous the CDS that came after me, nobody had control over the junglers.
Who had control over them?
This is just for me to confirm what they said it here before this commission, that they take instructions from the president. As far as I know, they take instructions from the president.
Thank you very much. Why were the junglers there? Who would have ordered them to be present during that investigation?
The president would have ordered them.
Thank you. So you see, if we just listen.
Certainly, I'm listening, I'm getting you clearly.
Exactly.
Yes, maybe the way you said it. And also the words you were using. You know, in fact, the argument was based on the words you were using, Council.
I use preconceived,
yes,
just to show that you are anticipating some questions, thinking that that's where I am going.
I am okay. I am okay
there.
whenever the questions come, but the word preconceived,
so
let's just forget that.
Just listen and answer my questions directly.
Certainly, certainly. That is why I'm here, Council.
So you would accept that in these panels you had the NIA, correct?
Correct, Council.
You had members of the police, correct?
Correct.
You had members of the army.
Correct.
So these people were doing the investigations.
Correct, Council.
Okay. Who would be asking the questions?
Haidara.
That's the NIA. Would you also be asking questions?
Just like this session here.
Would you also be asking questions?
Very rare cases. If I want to make an intervention, I would rather speak to the man doing the investigation. I'm the accent, Haidara.
But have you ever asked any questions?
I cannot remember that, Council. All of what I'm saying, it was a panel, and we have one leader, and we assign that person to be asking questions.
So the others were passive observers?
Certainly. We cannot have too many people asking questions in a panel. Then, you know, everything becomes what? Upside down. Just like this setup here, you are the one asking questions. You have your other councils, but they are not asking. They are following. Sometimes they consult with you. So it's the same setup.
The question is, were the others just passive observers? They sit there, they don't ask.
That was why I gave you that example of you and your team.
Okay. All right, we would come back to all that.
Okay.
So who would be taking statements?
There was no particular person taking statement. Like I said, it was a panel. There were personnel, particularly from the police and the NIA, who are vast in statement taking. So they were the ones writing the statements.
So it was police and NIA who would be taking statements?
Yeah, the soldiers, they don't know how to take statements because they don't understand that.
And why were the junglers there?
And so, you know, when I give you certain responses, you think that I'm trying to challenge you. I've said this clearly, that the deployment to give tax to the junglers is the prerogative of the president. He placed them there.
We know that.
Yes.
The question is not who sent them there. The question is, why were they there? What was their role?
Now, when you tell me why were they there, that will be difficult for me. But we assign them to be collecting these people from mile 2 and sending them back. If we need any particular person, they will go and collect the person from mile 2. When we are ready, they will send the person back. We are using them for that. As far as the panel was concerned.
But we have received evidence that their role was to torture people who appear before the panel. So that confessions could be obtained from them.
Is that
true or false?
If that is the evidence we receive from those individuals, I've said it here, that as far as the panel was concerned, their roles was to escort them to mile to bring them. That's one I know. But what happens out of the panel, after the panel, I wouldn't know. I don't say anything on that.
But is it the case that people have appeared before the panel and have been tortured before, during, or after their appearance, or immediately after their appearance before the panel, within the same premises.
Anytime we are done with them, when they make their statements, we make sure that we hand them over to the junglers, they return them back. What happens after that, out of the panel, I cannot be privy to that kind of information. I can say that, because I did not witness that. Because even if you as an individual, you don't have blood running in your veins, like here, this is a panel. Can somebody get up and start beating an individual in the presence of all these people here? And you expect all these people here to keep quiet and be watching?
But that is exactly the evidence that we have received.
But whether that is true, that is not true. This is what I'm saying.
That's why we are asking.
That is why I'm saying that is not true. We also have blood running in our veins.
Can you just allow the interpreter, Sima, to interpret?
Sorry.
Please go ahead.
Okay.
Answer his question.
Okay, like I said, in the panel, when they are seated in the panel, we have different people in the panel. Some of them might be even relatives to those people. It is not possible for us to see them being tortured before the panel. I have said this. It can happen out of the panel when because the junglers who escort them back to mile 2, and they are the one who brings them. So whatever happened out of the panel, we wouldn't be privy to that. And the junglers will even get them out of mile 2 even when the panel don't need them.
Could you say that again?
The junglers can get them out of mile 2 when the panel don't need them even. When we come to a particular situation, I'll be able to explain, then you'll see what I mean.
We would come to all that. Now let's just talk about the interview environment. Can you tell us the interview environment? You have kind of likened it to what is happening here.
Yes, it's just a similar setup like this. And the person with the interview will sit like in your position there. Yes. And questions have been asked.
Threats? Any threats?
I have never witnessed any threats been meted on them. I've said it here. That they had confessed from day one about their involvement. If you look at the videotape, actually, you can even give you an expert will interpret to you somebody being tortured, sitting and talking to the panel, and somebody not being tortured, sitting and facing the panel. Certainly their reactions will never be the same.
So in your view, all these witnesses who appeared here and said they were tortured, are they lying?
Council, me sitting here, I can even tell the commission here that I was tortured. When I was in mile 2, anytime I'm taken away to the NIA at night, when I come back, I pretend to be tortured. We would come in a real sense, I was never tortured.
We would come.
So those are tactics that people can employ. So I want you to take note of that as well. But to the best of my knowledge, we don't condone tortures. But tortures that happen out of the panel,
we would come to that.
Tortures that happen out of the panel, we have no control over that.
But wasn't it the case really, Mr. Tamba, that this whole interview panel was some organized torturing sessions just to drum out confessions out of witnesses?
Yeah, commande inisia sio bengo nyi commande nyala menronka mol bute isaje isi songa kumosoto ebulu.
And so those same people that you are talking about who claim that they were tortured.
Just answer my question directly. Just answer the question directly.
I am coming, Council.
Go ahead.
Those same people were sitting on the chair I'm sitting here. And they confessed to this commission here that yes, they were involved in a coup.
But Mr. Tamba,
without anybody touching them.
Okay.
So if I tell you that they confessed before us at a time when nobody touched them, but I've said here, after when we are done with them, when they confess, we are done with them, and they are to be returned to mile 2. Whatever happens out of the panel, we have no control over that. We have said that. We have no say over that. But as far as the panel is concerned, even if blood was not flowing in our veins, that could be accept like this hall is full like this setup here, and we could accept them to be tortured before a whole panel seated here. For instance, if that is to happen here, 1 or 2 people from the commissioners will not agree to that. So the same thing was happening in our panel as well. It's just that you don't want to accept what the scenario I'm giving you. Because already those people have told you that they were tortured at the panel, so you take that as conclusive. So this is why whatever I say here, you will not accept it.
Mr. Tamba, you should realize that I am not the one to be making decisions.
Mr. Tamba said,
so what is to be accepted or not is a matter for the commissioners, and they have not yet reached that stage. All I'm doing is asking questions. I'm not taking a position one way or another. But like I said the last time, if you try to anticipate where I am going, many times you will get it right, but sometimes you would not. So I just ask that you listen to the question. And once you listen to the question and you answer to my questions directly, maybe sometimes what you think is what I am trying to do, you may realize that that is not in fact the case. And we have seen a few examples. Just allow me to ask the question and just answer the question.
Council, I did not preempt your questions. These were issues you already raised here before this commission. That is why I'm reacting to the ones you raised. I'm not preempting what you're coming to say.
If you just listen to my questions and you answer to the questions, I think it will be a whole lot easier. The junglers, were they ever present in the room where the panel sat?
And so I have said it here that they escort these people from the mile 2. And once they have them seated, sometimes some of them will be in the conference hall there. Yes.
So I take it that your answer is yes.
In some cases, yes, they are present.
And these junglers, they are armed.
Not in
the conference hall. Nobody is allowed to be armed in the conference hall. Those who were armed are usually stationed outside the conference hall, not inside the hall.
Conference room
Are you suggesting that they are disarmed when they come in to the conference hall with their arms?
Council, they will usually leave them in the car. Because there was enough security in the premises of the NIA. That will not warrant an escape.
In fact, these interrogations, a lot of them were done very late at night, isn't it?
Council, there was no specific time for interrogation. The reason why we continued up to night, we wanted to speed up with the investigation so that a decision can be taken on them. So if we were to do it only during the day, instead of doing it in 3 weeks, do it only during the day, it will take you for maybe 6 weeks. We did that purposely to save time, but not for any other reason.
Would you say that most of them were done at night?
I will not agree to that. We do start the investigation during the day and we continue into the night. So when you say most of them were done in the night, I don't understand that. I know that we start during the day into the night.
Mr. Tamba, when I put across these propositions, it's not me saying that this is what is happening. What I think or what my opinion is, I would never say it. Because that's not important. I have to frame the questions and I have to frame them in a way to give you an opportunity to answer. So if you think that the question reflects my opinion, you are mistaken. My opinion is only for me. Please understand it like that.
Council, I fully understood it like that. But if you are addressing issues with me, I cannot address Mr. Jallo because they are not the one asking me. This is why I refer to you. You are the one asking me. If you don't want me to refer to you when you are the one asking me, then whom do I refer to? I can be guided on that.
By all means, refer to me.
That doesn't mean you are the one who is the initiator of that. You are the one asking me.
Don't take the question and make it my opinion.
I think I have passed that level, Council.
Thank you very much. So let's move on. The interview environment. How would you describe it?
I would say agent because I already described it. That is just like a setup like that. And then the tables around like this. And then the person being interviewed will sit at your position there, facing the panelists.
Is it
Is it as cordial as this?
Certainly. Certainly.
The Commission has received an entirely different description of the panels. from the working hours, the interview environment, how the evidence is received, in particular the issue of fabrication of evidence. In your view, none of these things took place.
Council, I stand to be guided.
Council,
the setting up of the panel is not unique to a particular setup. It depends on what is wanted. This is the setup that the TRRC wants, and it is taking this shape. What is making our conversation difficult is you bringing to me that this is what X, Y, and Z they have said. Yes, you have all rights to ask me. It is also my duty to let you know that this is the reality. And I was not alone in the panel. Probably you'll have the opportunity to invite other members of the panel. I want to remind you, those people of 2006, when they appeared before the panel, 2006, some of them denied their involvement in the coup. But later they were seated on this chair and they confessed. So if you want to take whatever they tell you here, you could make a mistake.
We rest assured, Mr. Tamba, that we would do everything possible to ensure that we don't make a mistake.
And
that is why we are asking the questions, difficult as they may be.
You
see, those who sat in that chair made a confession are in fact people to be applauded and not derided.
So I disagree with you when you say there are people to be applauded.
Just hear me out.
Okay, Council.
Here, people come here to take an oath to speak the truth. And when they come and confess to their crimes, in a situation where they could have lied, so we should appreciate the fact that at least on this particular occasion before the commission, they have chosen to be honest. So that is not to justify crimes they have committed. But at least for the purposes of the commission, where they have confessed honestly what they have done, they have done what is expected of them by the commission and the Gambian people. On that particular occasion, because we're looking for the truth. So because they have spoken the truth here doesn't mean they have to be castigated. But that is all aside. Let's focus now on the conditions that obtained at the commission. At the panel. Is it your view that the conditions that obtained in the panel were such that all those who were investigated gave their evidence freely without any pressure or interference.
Munta nyina mukoti bang mbelu be law kuma kangulu fo panelo nyati limu na je ilawo kumolu be ibele ya fo nyama me ya lonko adiyate fangoleye imede wundi imede tendi ime silandi.
Council, I have a problem here and I want to be guided by you.
What
do you say of those same people who sat here and they confess of their involvement in the coup attempt? Whilst during the court martial, where I was not there, where they had their lawyers with them representing them, and yet they deny their involvement in the coup. Only to sit on this chair and confess. So what do you say of those people, Council? I need to be guided. Because whatever I'm saying here, you are not taking it as something that really happened. I need to be guided, Council. How do you call those kind of people?
I would answer your question. I just do not see the relevance. If somebody sits here and confesses to something that he did in the past, something that he had denied before, this commission should be happy that this person has chosen, at least on this particular occasion, to be honest. In fact, the person is implicitly admitting that he or she is a liar, having lied before. But it does not change the fact that for this work of this commission, the person has at least decided to respect the fact that he or she has taken an oath to speak the truth. Because for us, all we are interested in is the truth. So if a person comes here and speaks the truth, we should be happy that at least before the commission, this person has spoken the truth. This does not change the fact that the person may have lied somewhere else before. But our role is not to judge people by what they have said previously elsewhere. Our role is to judge them by what they say before the commission. But if the person also comes here and lies, and it is shown that the person has lied, the commission would take it that the person has lied. And the commission would decide what to do with that person's statement. Is it clear now?
And so don't you think these are the witnesses called tainted witnesses? Simply because what they said before the court martial, with their lawyers being present, seems to be different from what they said here while they were seated here. So is that not a tainted witness? They were represented legally during the court martials. And they have all the environment for them to speak the truth.
Can I remind you all that we are here to create an impartial record of violations and abuses of human rights from July 1994 to January 2017.
Chairman ko.
We are to give yes, please go ahead.
Chairman ko dalilo mumenti jang. Wolem be fero mento wolem katonya nyinin. Tonya me yalon ko wolem nyinti tonya fasari man ke damin tonya tilindingo ku sotoringo. Me yalon ko wolle keta ka hadama ya nyanto lutinya kabo 1994 kana 2017 sankan pour ka tonya londi ntelbe lorin wala kanjang.
We are to provide victims an opportunity to relate their own accounts of the violations and abuses. We are here to ask questions and witnesses answer those questions for the record.
Mbijang purka nyinin karo ke womolu nina ta ininge nyinin kai si jabirolu di purunyin kamala mbe men safela ko ku soto ngolle munyiliti.
Not here to conduct what essentially today it sounds like a seminar on telling the people how things are done here, what is what's been said by somebody else. We're not here interpreting any of those things. We're here to have question and answer to get an accurate record of what really happened, to allow the Commission at some point to come and make a decision on the findings and the recommendations.
Amanke nyinti purun na tajanne siring dolu be kumolu menu fula anite lefta sata la nyamen ka kolu ru jamfande ke ndije ka kumolu noma sata hani ntelu lasilo momenti jangole mbe janne mbe nyinin karolu la adun la fita jabirol la jabirolu men ya lonko imariol si kuma sotore ngolu fonye men ya lonko wolleketa pour nyin kamala mbe men safela asike kuti men ya lonko ntelu be tonya nyinin men lafta tonya les sabati ndila nga save ko anyanta safela nyami.
We cannot be sort of taken away from what the focus of our work and the mandate really is.
It's
a very important point that we hope that today's witness, a key senior person in the administration of the previous government,
goto bi nyimuku kuma baleti kafoko mome ye palasi ba maranu wo marano wuceo nyin kono wo tembo bi wala musedo timembe sirin kono so nyatili wala.
Council has a lot of material that we are going to be covering with your presence. The entire day is being devoted to getting a very, very senior person like you to address the Commission and the entire country.
Amunta kansul bedamen ku jamal le belari nga nyatili wala bari nyin kamala anyanta kumolu melu noma satala wala nyinti ko tilomu no itebe siring ibe nyibe nyinin kakang ibe kumolu satakan bari abe nyanta tala nyami wala nyinti ko nteli ngasilo le sotombe men tamandila alu nyanta tamala no silo le kango men dintulula mbe kolu samba kan wole nyakili nyama purun sa ke nyama me ya lonko mbe si tilingu ninto nya soton no menketa.
To spend a lot of time on explanations of how we proceed, what we do here, and that's been the exchange that's been going on back and forth, sort of deflects us from the focus that we really have to exercise, from the information that we need from a very senior person like you to proceed.
Amunta kachalu kono diamolu kono ninyinin karolu keta ikalla fi silolu menu tala aninka kumolu menu fo wolu dolu mu kumoleti menu manyal natarlante lakolu kono amunta kam filindile kam bondin na silo kam wati ni wati amunta nyinin karolu kata nyamin ntelu be ko men noma wala menketa ko andungo fana itala palaso be tembo mento nyaton ka palaso le be bulu alifale muitunu wo man sakunda kono woto wo nyinin karolu bina kan nyamin ike nyinin ka kolu menu la telu kaw ay nyinin ka kuma kangolu menu la wo kalimolu ite nyanta bulala wolle no ma bari memmen sembondi wo silo kan wo manyanna kala.
We must therefore continue our work the way we're doing it. Council asks some questions, witness answers some questions. Perhaps the shorter the questions, the shorter the answer, the better for everybody.
Amunta woto, council be nyinin karo la nyamin, ngata ni wonya. Nin council ye nyinin karo ke ya jabi kuma tilindi wala men sutiyata. Nin council fana ye nyinin karo ke nyama men keta kuma stuti ite fana ya jabi. Sata kumolu nyili kana jamfa, akono kana fanu, kuma sata jangolu kana taraje me yalon ka sembondi siloka.
The commission is not here to embarrass any witness or to deny any witness a fair hearing.
Commissioner mantara jande purka mo malundi de. Commissioner manna jam falang purka kutamandi mo kanjam bennin tilingo te kelinti.
Some of the issues that were coming up could have come up before the 7th of January 2019 when we started these public hearings.
Kodo starta wole sina no le juna ka for January 2019 wo kodo sikeno le ni ni nkaru wala ni siobe damutala.
With no comment, can we continue before? Council, can you please ask questions? Witness, if you don't mind, please help us create this impartial record that the National Assembly mandated us to do.
Council betente nala nyinin karo la bari selo mbedani la bankola député bungo ye kangoni symbole din tolla andu ye silo le landi nyembe tamala silo melna oto mbedani la yemma koy men si o silo sene andi mbe nyinin karo melna pour nga tonya sotonno asilo kan laftala nyami.
We are not going to go ahead and get involved in things that is going to tell other witnesses who are coming here, go in there, ask a lot of questions about this and that. You get involved in that, some exchange, and at the end of the day, they're not going to sit until midnight. Yes, if we are going to sit until midnight, we will go ahead and do it until we get what we want to get.
Wala nyinti ko mbe nyinin ka kan lafita wala fanan sotonna katu mbe sirin jang nyinin karolu keta imari la sataro kono kadum kudolu kono hani fo dolu men fanal bina la wol tulo bewla isafa hani tataje ni nyinin ka ite sinyin silo tay sinyin photo ye nyin foten hani ntelu nata men na jang mbe bulala wo silo le noma adum ba jelale ko nga noma sata hani fo so lata tonya men na funga wo soto.
Council, can you please continue?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I am looking at my watch. It's past 5 o'clock. Do you generally, we finish 5 o'clock? Perhaps maybe I'll just take 5 minutes and leave it at a particular spot, and then we adjourn till tomorrow. Thank you very much. Mr. Tamba, you would accept that the junglers were also sometimes in the interview room, in the room where the panel sat.
Mr. Tamba, ebe sonale tumudo luko jongla solu katara le wonyinin kari dulato panelo katara siri nundami bungo konoje.
I have said this earlier on, that yes.
We have received information that oftentimes up to about 20 people can be in the room.
Tumodolu niwo panelo la molnata. Tumodolu mo katara jele hanfo men katafo mo muwang me yalon ko wolle katara bungo konoje.
I think I've said that usually it can be 10 above. So the exact number I wouldn't confirm.
No, from Fonko, Jamaja Matulo, La Catala, and from Tangwala Mensi Siawati, but Nangamo Yirko from Fonola.
What you said before was that the first and second day you were up to 10.
Yemen Fono Fono, Lumfono, Fulanjao, Albijel Membital Hanfo Motanyo.
My question is, in subsequent days, would you have up to 20 people who were present in the room?
Nanyinin karona takenyinte wolum folo nim fulanjango kola tumodo lumolu menu katara fo panelo toje ikatale han fo men kata han fo mumu anyombang.
All I know is from 10 it could be a little above, but I cannot give the exact figure. That is what I said here many times. I don't want to tell lies. I don't want to tell lies. This was the number when that wasn't. For 10 above, I think that should be able to answer everything.
It's a very simple question. In your view, do you think that there were instances when you have up to 20 people? It's a yes or a no.
I think this is what is deviating all of us, Chairman. If I answer the question, I say 10 above, what is the relevance of me to say yes, 20 or 10 above could be up to 100.
Mr. Tamba, leave that issue
10 above could be up to 100.
Okay.
So if you want to take it at 20, you can take it at 20. It's still 10 above.
Mr. Tamba, this is the very wrong attitude that should come out. All right?
I disagree. It is not a wrong attitude.
You are asked a simple question. You are able to say it's more than 0 and it's up to 10. You should be able to say whether it is more than 10 and up to 20. If you don't know, say you don't know. But answer the question.
Counsel,
answer the question.
My answer is 10 and above.
All right. Would you say they are up to 20?
10 and above.
All right, thank you very much. The commission would...
Certainly, the commission is hearing us. No need to refer to them.
The commission would record the fact that you refuse to answer the question.
I cannot give the exact number, Council. You want me to lie to say 20? Why are you particular about the number 20? 10 above could be 20, could be above 20. I don't think we should waste our time. Chairman, these are the things I say. If he asks me, I have answered 10 above. 10 above could be 20, could be 30. So if I cannot give the exact number, this is not a court proceeding. This is an investigation, and I am saying what I know. But if the council is insisting for me to say it's 20, it means this is a court proceedings, which is not. 10 above, I think that should answer the question.
Thank you very much, Council. If you don't have any further questions, we will
be adjourned till tomorrow. Thank you, Mr.
Tomorrow morning, sharp from 10 o'clock. And we'll have to do a bit of preparatory work, and so not to repeat today's proceedings. Thank you all very much. We come back tomorrow, sharp 10 o'clock. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chairman.
Boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk la ñu indile products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jama natural beauty, that melanin dripping, we do have stuff for you as well. And when ci skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar. In fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw. We do have bundles as well. Hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw. Boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon that classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite. Comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw. Ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skin care products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentee tamit si ay dàlla man waaye man nag skin care mooy suma specialty. Xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag. Am nañ Patricia Reiner, Kiwi Eye, the whole range, Lighten Up Gold, Tomatine. I mean, the list can just go on and on and on and on. Lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox. Skincare plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu nga United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ la consult